Great, thank you so much. And now for the final presentation of today, the panel was actually a great setup for Ryan Levitt, who is from housetrip.com, and will probably tell a little bit more about his difficulties as well, besides explaining a little bit more on how working with bloggers, but explain a little bit about difficulties in dealing with DMOs and social travel, so to say, maybe. So please give a big applause for Ryan.
I'm so glad I don't have the music. Nobody can judge me. This is great. Hi. So yes, I come from a long background. I started as a travel writer for The Independent in the UK, and I was a travel editor of Arena magazine, and I worked for Wallpaper. And then I went into travel PR, and among the destinations I represented in the UK market are Bermuda, Mauritius, Graubünden Tourism, Tourism Queensland, NYC and Company, Malaysia. So I am very familiar with how DMOs work. I have been through the elections that change your entire campaign strategy. I have been through the instant cut of budget that you suddenly face. I know it all. And now I am head of PR for a company called Housetrip. And I'm here to speak to you today about working with bloggers, or blaggers as my assistant calls them. We really started working with bloggers quite extensively about a year and a half ago. My company, which is a social travel company in some ways, was looking for third-party advocates, people who we could work with to experience our product, talk about their experiences, and share those experiences. So today, if I can go to the next slide. Hold on. Is it this one? There we go. Today we're going to talk about this. The truth about working with bloggers, who reads them and what they read, why the Daily Mail rocks, unfortunately, and if you know the United Kingdom, saying that statement is really difficult for me to get through. Why work with bloggers and how to work with them. So, why work with bloggers? Right, so I like bloggers. I do read a few. Some of them have interesting things to say. Most of the ones that I read have been in the market for a long time. So when we were starting to do our research about what we wanted to work with, we thought we would just kind of invite people to stay with us, see what happened. We read hundreds of blogs during the analysis period, and what we found, what we found was that about 99% of them were absolute shit. Really bad. Why were they bad? Okay, what were our pet peeves? Spelling. They don't know how to spell. They can't do grammar. It reads badly. Bad research. Incorrect statements and facts. Things were completely incorrect, false. Massive inflation of their numbers. Huge. Trying to flummox you with stats and statistics about how many millions of people read them. What I call blogger wank. And this is, I love your post. No, I love your post more. No, I'm going to comment on your post and I love it more. No, your post is so much better. Wow, we love each other's blogs so much. Now we're going to comment on somebody else's blog about how much we love their blogs too. That's what I call blogger wank. So if you ever look on a blog and you see, hi, this is Kelly from Overall Travel. I really loved your post on Paris. Thanks, Overall Travel. So-and-so from Travel Plus also like that's what you want to avoid, because they're just talking to each other. Asking for cash on everything, just stepping out the door, the whole Linda Evangelista, I won't get out the door for less than $10,000 quote. Bloggers will ask for cash for everything. I had people asking me for cash just to go on a press trip. Why would I do that? Why? And you as DMO should not pay a blogger to go on a press trip, nor should you pay an organization to arrange your press trip, which I will come on to later, because I bet you some of you have been faced with that possibility. This is another one, lack of creativity. When I was a journalist and I had to pay my own meals, I had to go up to DMOs and ask them, based on creative angles that worked for the press and for the DMO, on ways to get to that destination to be funded. Bloggers, 99% of them come up to me and go, I would like to go to Paris with my family, will you give me a trip? I don't know about you, but that ain't exactly all that interesting, because I've seen that one before. Lazy, I will do the post, I will not re-promote it, it will go up there, and that's it, moving on to the next post. Well, unless you are a follower of the blog, and you've read that post at the exact moment that it was posted, then chances are you will miss that post, and so there goes that opportunity for you as the DMO to get your messaging out. Invisibility. Once the content's written, they just walk away. It's just gone. You can't find it again. It's buried. Some of them will only keep posts up for a year, some for 3 years. It just goes. So, you know, when all of that is said and done, I wanted to show you 3 examples of proof of these bad bloggers. Don't worry, I'm taking you down to the bottom, the bad blogs, and then we're going to build back up again. I'm just preparing you. So I worked with 3 blogs last year, and these 3 blogs were acknowledged to be amongst the best of the best. And these are 2 examples that happened to me, and one that happened to a colleague of mine at another DMO. And I say another DMO, I don't work for one, but she does. So the first one is what I call the Colorado case. I got a very well-written letter. It was sent by a blogger who quoted me about how they had worked for so many DMOs, and their content was so great, and they really loved my product, and wow, they were going to Colorado, and they really wanted to have, you know, a month in Colorado to really immerse themselves in the experience, and they promised me all of these blog posts, and they gave me all of these traffic numbers, and they were amazing, and they couldn't wait to work with my company. One catch, my property, the company that I work for has no properties in Colorado. None. And it's pretty easy to find that out just by typing the word Colorado in the search field and seeing no properties in Colorado. So when I sent them back an email calling them on this, they said, oh yeah, I sent that email out to so many different companies I couldn't keep track. Okay, that was an honest-to-God response. Number 2, viral in Venice. We contracted a blogger to provide us some content by deadline for a critical deadline with a project that we were working on. So we asked them to get the product in, deadline comes, whooshes by, no content. So we reach out to this blogger and find out, you know, what's going on, what happened here. And they say they're so sick, they're hospitalized. At the very moment that they were saying that they were sick and hospitalized, on her Twitter appeared a post saying, so great to be here in Venice, what a lovely city. So when we then said, why are you in Venice? She said, oh, my boyfriend thought I was so sick that I needed to get away to Venice to recuperate. This is what we're talking about, top professional blogger here. Third case is my favorite. This is the one that didn't happen to me. One of the leading travel bloggers in the UK went on a sponsored trip from the United Kingdom to Australia, where they were for 2 weeks. Their camera broke on day 2. When they returned to the United Kingdom and were asked when the blog posts were going to appear, their response was, I'm sorry, my camera broke, so I can't do any posts. 2 weeks in Australia. Can you imagine the amount of money that was spent on this writer? So, this is rock bottom. So we went back to the drawing board, and we asked 1,000 Brits, aged 35 to 55, if they had read any blogs on a regular basis. We set the bar really low. We wanted to know if they read it at least once per month, and if so, how many they read. How many blogs do you think these 1,000 Brits said? Come on, this is audience interaction time. It's late. I gotta see if you're waking up. How many blogs do you think they read?
2. 5.
Who said 5? Okay, and who said 2?
2.
Okay, who else? Anyone? Yeah, the answer was 3. They read 3 blogs once a month. So where these I get 3 billion people traffic numbers things are coming from, I have no idea. Because of those 3 blogs, they also said, of which one was written by a friend or relative. So really they're reading 2. So we then wanted to divide those figures to see what the topics were that they read. And the topics were, well, the top 5 were pretty obvious. Hollywood gossip, parenting, how to save money, going out, things like best things to do in London, best things to do in Amsterdam, which I do not qualify as a travel blog. I would qualify that as a going out events blog. Fashion, still no travel. Okay, next 5. Okay, food and drink, health and diet, craft, DIY, interiors, photography. Travel ranked 15th after music, pets, motoring, and even politics. Right, not such great news. A traditional travel blog, not well read. So out of those 2 blogs that people are actually reading, 3 if I don't count the mother, sister, wife blog, out of the 2 blogs, somewhere in there, right at the bottom, in 15th place is travel. So I wanted to find out, a bit more information. So I did what I call the ask your wife, ask your mother, ask your best friend from high school kind of thing. So I turned to my friend Megan from high school and I said, do you read any blogs? And her response was, I'm a keen photographer, so I look at Instagram. I might follow a couple of photography purchasing sites when I'm looking to buy new equipment. That's it. She has 2 girls. She doesn't have time to read blogs. Then I asked my sister, she's 49, she said, I get recipes from time to time from blogs, but only if I found it on Google. I don't actively look for a blog with recipes. So then I asked my mother, she's 72, and her response was, what's a blog? Which is pretty much what I expected. So then I thought, well, maybe travel is going to be stronger amongst a younger demographic, a younger age group. Someone who has more spare time to go traveling. Maybe somebody who takes that gap year, that backpacking trip to Southeast Asia. Nope. Still not there. Yes, there are adjustments in topics. Still no travel. They're just not interested. So why do we think this is the case? Well, I have a theory on this one. A travel blog is like when your friends down the road went away on holiday and asked you to come and see their slideshow 20 years ago. It's boring. Who wants to endure that? Oh, look, here's us in the car. Here's us going down the road. Here's, I don't want to see that. Why do I want to read that? Why do I want to read about somebody else living their dream? Badly written, like living their dream too, I don't want to do that. Do you? So, where are people looking at content? This is where they're looking at content. They're not looking at blogs, they're looking at other social media platforms. Facebook, TripAdvisor, just giving you a shout out, yeah. Mumsnet, which is a major forum in the United Kingdom, but there's other equivalents in other markets. For instance, Opinionated in France, I believe. Instagram, Pinterest. This is where they are absorbing content. But it's usually content that they're seeing from their friends' channels. It's usually content that they're seeing advertised on their feeds. And I actually just want to add something related to what was said in the last session, which I didn't get a chance to comment on, because I'm standing up here and that gives me the opportunity to do so. A lot of people are saying that they're worried about when you have to pay for Facebook in 2015. I would say you should be paying for Facebook now. The content that you're promoting, the only way it's going to be seen on people's feeds is if you're paying for promoted posts, according to the way that Facebook have gate-kept the news feed. So thinking and worrying about how Facebook is going to be expensive later on, it's already expensive. And if you're not promoting your content on Facebook, you're not getting it seen anywhere. But I'm sure somebody will have something to say about that afterwards. Now, I was going to play a song that lasts about 2 minutes and 49 seconds so I could have a drink of water and entertain you, but I'm being told that YouTube won't work. So this is a song that I was going to play. It's called the Daily Mail song, and what we're about to get into is why bloggers need to adjust to become more like traditional media. And that might be a controversial thing to say, but I'm about to get into that now. So, who knows the Daily Mail? Anyone? It's awful. It is truly, truly awful. It is like an encapsulation of every reactionary view a Brit could ever have. And yet it is also read by 1.5 million people. It is also the only traditional paper that delivers return on investment for advertising in the United Kingdom anymore. It is also the one that really does, and I'm not sure if you know this, but the Mail Online is, I believe, the #1 most read online newspaper in the world. Who here has read the mail online? Yeah. Do you know about the wall of shame down the side, is what we refer to it? It is a list of topics and stories that is related to what consumers really want. And here's where we're going to start bringing up some websites. So let's take a look at that first website. Oh, yes, here we go. So here is the Daily Mail right now. Now, as you can see at the top, let's scroll down so that we don't annoy Mr. Tourism South Africa. We've got Peaches Geldof. We've got all of the celebrities down the side. We've got mystery men found in Norway. Pro wrestling super chat. Oh, the resignation of a minister who was bilking my money with her tax lining expenses. Yeah, do you see any travel there? Not really. You may see some stuff on the side wall of shame. You may see a celebrity caught on camera in a destination. This is the most influential site in the UK. This is what consumers want to read, depressingly to say, but this is what a consumer wants to engage with and ingest. Not a travel feature about my summer vacation in Egypt. They don't care. They care about celebrities. They care about the blog topics I was telling you about. Fashion, music, food and drink. That's what they engage with. That's what they want to read about. Now, let's look at the Travel Mail, which is the next website. Now, this is the Daily Mail's travel-specific... this is the shout out to TripAdvisor. Congratulations, your PR is great. Number 2 story. This is the travel-specific site. Now, I know the editors of the Travel Mail very well. Very good friends of mine. They never want features about destinations unless it features a celebrity or someone of note in it. So once again, store that usual first-person travel feature you used to do with traditional media doesn't get on this site. If it does, it'll be buried, 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 buried at the bottom. So what does? Family, parenting tips. We go down, we've got money-saving guides. We've got celebrity links to movies. We've got infographics. That's the content they want. So this is how a blogger should adjust. If a blogger knows that this is the content that the world's most widely read newspaper is pushing, and I'm telling you they have analysts up the wazoo telling you what stories are getting the click-throughs and which ones aren't, and placing those stories above and below constantly to adjust, then a blogger needs to start adjusting their content, their travel content, to meet the needs of what that consumer wants to read, and they don't. So let's go back to the presentation, please. Wow, that was seamless. Okay, so the blogger is just like the publisher of a newspaper. They should be responsible for ad sales and circulation. And if they're just constantly doing reviews of trips, and that review of a trip is not getting any click-throughs or circulation, then what is the point of them? To increase ad sales and circulation, a newspaper must constantly deliver the kinds of articles consumers want to read. They have to promote their newspaper and content through ad campaigns, promotions, sponsorships, and retargeting of top posts. A blogger is no different. And if a blogger is not doing that, then that is not a blogger you should be working with. If it is yet another blogger asking you for yet another free trip that they are not going to promote, that they are not going to post, and that is only being read by other bloggers, it is not reaching consumers. And so you may be flashed and dazzled by large readership numbers, but the reality is no one of any value to your sales, to the people that you're responsible for driving numbers to, is going to benefit. So, why should we work with bloggers then? Well, there's a big number one reason. That's the big one. And if anyone tells you that it's for influence building, brand awareness, traffic driving, sales conversion, that is the number two. And that is the golden nugget to get when working with bloggers, but it's a hard golden nugget to get. The number one benefit will always be SEO. And as we know from Google are penalizing anyone for paid links. So you can't just do a paid link to a blog and hope for the best. You will get trashed if you do that. So I and my team at HouseTrip have actually divided blog requests. When we get a blog request, if it is a simple request for a stay, it goes straight to my SEO director and I have nothing to do with it. If it is my name is Julie and I write for this blog and I want 3 free nights in Paris, I go, thank you very much, Julie. I'm going to introduce you to my SEO director, Simon, and he will then analyze your traffic figures and see if it works for us. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Because I don't need to work with them. What I need to do is if I start getting a relationship with a blogger and I find that that blogger writes really good content and I find that it is in a niche topic that is of interest to my company according to our brand direction, and I know that it is someone I can create a long-term engaged relationship with, that's when the PR department clicks into play and starts talking with them. Why do I do this? Well, I think a simple reason is, let's look at this Too Bad. So this Too Bad is promoting a movie. And the movie industry is worth billions and billions of dollars, and the promotional funds that they have to promote just one film probably is 3 times what we have to promote our entire destinations, right? If you look at the top corner, and that's what I really want you to focus on, you see the quotes. 5-star, 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, 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 outrageously brilliant. You can't see it, but all of those quotes come from a newspaper. Metro, Heat, or a magazine. Okay. Not one of them comes from a blog. And until we reach the point that a blog is considered reputable enough that they can go up there, that you have a long-term relationship enough, that they can drive traffic enough and numbers enough and have strong enough brand awareness, then a blogger is going to be a difficult sell. So what is useless? And here is where I'm going to get into some trouble with some of you, because I think some of you have done some of these projects before, so I apologize in advance. Tweet-ups. Tweet-ups and anything on Twitter generally is a lame waste of your time. Ask your mother, ask your sister, ask your best friend. Do any of them use Twitter? Any of them? Not too many. In the UK, it's okay. Once you get onto the continent, it's less, and if they do use Twitter, it's usually for one of 2 things: celebrity following or customer service complaining. That's it. They do not use Twitter for anything else. That has been the study 3 years ago, that has been the study 2 years ago, and that is the study right now. So a tweet up will reach a mass number of next to no consumers. Blog houses and blog trips. Sorry, people. They're a total waste of time. I want you to go to the next website that I pulled up. There we go. This is Gary Arndt and his website Everything Everywhere. And he did a post about 5 weeks ago that completely ripped to shreds everything about blog houses and blog trips. He also did a post about how he never gets involved with them. Newspapers, and here's where I'm going back to why bloggers need to be more like a newspaper. Newspapers insist on exclusives in order to help them stand out from a crowd. Why would I want all of my messaging all at once amongst a group of people who are all experiencing the same thing at the same time? And then, if I'm expecting that the bloggers are going to do the promoting and I'm not doing any promotion of the concept itself, who's actually reading the work? There was a blog house trip to Mauritius about 6 months ago. I actually had 2 bloggers come up to me who were posted on that trip who said, well, I don't know why I was invited because, my audience is totally irrelevant for Mauritius, but it was a free trip to Mauritius, so of course I said yes. Mauritius paid a group of people to organize that blog trip with targeted people. Look what they got. I would also say to you, if you take anyone outside of travel, someone who doesn't work in the industry, some regular 35 to 55-year-old ABC1 consumer, and ask them, so what did you think of the recent Mauritius project that was not promoted or advertised anywhere offline or on Facebook? What did you think of it? What? If you're not going to drive any traffic to this Bloghouse campaign, then how do you expect anything to come out of it? Single post, single time. I work with an excellent blogger named Planet D, who I would rate highly for any project that you do. And the Planet D do something really incredible. They write a post, and then they tweet about it again and again and again, without me prompting them, whenever they feel that there's a relevant time to repost that topic. Because they know that they need to constantly drive traffic back to their sponsors and supporters in order to get those numbers and those reads and those click-throughs as much as possible. Because if you only do a blog post once and let it sit there, no one will ever see it. But they do it independently. Like I said, not promoting the content. If you've got all this blog content and you know that your consumers are on TripAdvisor and Facebook and Twitter, you can't just have it on the blog. You need to take that blog content, you need to put it on your Facebook page, and then you need to put money into a sponsored post to push that blog post. That's the way that you get average consumers to read it. And like I said, using the wrong platforms. Always remember to talk to your mother, your sister, and your neighbor. Find out what they use. And I think that is the biggest challenge, is that we're so focused as DMOs on providing numbers and telling the Minister of Tourism that I delivered XX million readers of something, that we're not actually focusing on the true measure of success, which is quality. So, let's go back to the presentation. So, if SEO isn't our goal, how do we get that elusive thing in number 2? The brand influence, the targeted communication, the driving of the traffic numbers. Well, the first thing I would say is go niche. As I have kind of shown, I hope, travel blogs aren't really working. What does work are the blogs focused on the content that the consumers actually want to read. So, if you know that food and drink is a core promotable possibility for your destination, and you know that food and drink is the number 6 most read blogger topic in the United Kingdom, then start working with food bloggers who travel, or parenting bloggers who travel. Travel-specific blogs just won't work out for you, unless they're what I call granddaddy blogs. The kinds of blogs that have been around for so long that they have the reputation established, and there's really only about 3 of those that I can think of off the top of my head. Nomadic Matt, Planet D, and Everything Everywhere are the ones that most frequently pop into my mind. Attend blogger events. You need to establish a working relationship with bloggers. If you're just going to choose people blind, you're not going to know what they're like. Ask for media packs, but be aware that they're going to inflate the numbers hugely, so take it with a grain of salt. But what a media pack will tell you is how professional this blogger is. Read the blogs. This is a big one. There are so many organizations I know who don't actually read the blogs. They just look at the traffic numbers. And then they read the blogs and go, wait, this is not written well. And suddenly, you have a piece of content out there on a very highly trafficked site that actually is littered with the spelling errors and could do more brand damage to your brand than if you never had the piece ever. Look at their social media profile. Ignore the Twitter numbers, because they're probably just tweeting other blogs and doing the blog wank circle. Look at their Facebook, which is where your consumers are. Engagement, engagement, engagement. See how many comments are being put on their posts and how many are from regular people, not just other bloggers. Repeat trips. When I say repeat trips, that goes back to what I was saying about the Planet D, about reposting, retweeting. The piece that they retweeted last week was something they did for my company 7 months ago. So this is a case of that repeat. Keep bringing people back. 2-year minimum. The blogger should have been doing that blog for a minimum of 2 years. Some people say 1, I say 2. If they have not been writing for more than 2 years, I will not entertain working with them. So many times I've been approached by bloggers who are planning their epic round-the-world trip that they've always wanted to do, who then get all of the stuff sponsored for a year, and then after a year they stop the trip and the last post is, well, that's it, we're back in London, bye, and the blog is dead, and you've just given them a post for free with big destination support, and nobody's ever going to read the blog again. And the final one is reference check. And this is something we don't do. Now, in the past, when a journalist came up to you, you could ask for a letter from their editor, right, to confirm the commission. We don't have that joy anymore. So what I want to do, and I want to say, and what I want to get started is reference checking. If they say to you, I have worked with the Finland Board of Tourism I've worked with Tourism Queensland. I've worked with so many of these tourism boards, and you should be working with me because I'm so important, because I'm so amazing, and all these people give me all this free stuff. Then what you should do is pick up the phone, and you should call Visit Finland, Tourism Queensland, and all those other organizations and find out what it was like to work with them, whether they were satisfied with the return on investment that they received from the amount of investment they gave to that blogger, and whether they would recommend working with you again. Because too many times I've been burned by people who flash and dazzle, who then when you actually call the person and say, yeah, I sponsored them, and it really didn't work out. They said, oh, I know, we sponsored them too. It was an absolute fucking nightmare. I really would love for that to stop happening. So I really do think that we should, I mean, we have Twitter. Why can we not just tweet each other, hey, Visit Finland, I got approached by blah, 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 you know? It's really easy. And I'm being told I have 5 minutes, which I thought I would, like, totally go under for. So I'm going to call it a day there, I think, yeah. So that's me. And thank you. I hope that was... I think I may come across too negative, but when you find that blogger, that golden blogger who is engaged with your company and writes really well and does all of the things to help promote you, find them, grab them, and work with them solidly and create a full-time relationship. It's not about quantity of bloggers, it's about quality. If you can find 5 of those, that's better than the 35,000 others out there. Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
Thank you, Ryan. I kind of feel that there will be a lot of questions. So that's some fireworks at the end of the day. Some questions or maybe some comments, because I know Ryan touched upon a few things that some of you have been doing or are doing, and you might not share his opinion. So now would be a nice time to voice your opinion. Anyone?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm going to get you your own one tomorrow.
Chris from Levitt, Queensland. I think you dropped up one of the really important things that DMOs find appealing about working with bloggers, and that is that the content that can be used. So SEO is definitely important, but I don't know about the other guys in the room, but what I find appealing about working with bloggers is that they are probably a little bit more open to providing their content for us to use through our channels, and content creation is a big issue for us. So I just wanted to put that out there, see if you had any comment on that, or...
Yeah, content creation is key if you find people who actually produce really good content, and if you do, then that's a great benefit. I think the missing trick for DMOs is that some of them don't actually do anything with the content. So the content's produced, it might go on their company blog, which they never advertise, or the Facebook channel, which will only be seen by the people who like the brand. And you need to factor in that you're going to have to, the way Facebook is gated now, if you want to promote that content, the content might be free because the blogger, well, free based on the trip that you sent them on. You then have to put some money behind promoting that content somewhere. And that's where I think the missing trick is.
I think it also falls back onto the tourism organisations themselves to make sure that they've got the right platforms there to create that content.
So the content that we're capturing, it will be feeding through to, say, an iPad application, to a mobile device, to our website, to a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's also important that the tourism organisations take the responsibility for the content that they're getting as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep, if I could just jump in as well. I think you made a few really good points. The most important one is do your research. Because there's so much out there, there's so many bloggers out there, there's so many influencers out there, and I hear so many times that DMOs invite a blogger reactively because a blogger says, well, I've been to destination XYZ, who probably didn't do their research, and that's then a justification to go to the next place. So I think you have a really good point there, and it's just to do your research, make sure that you find the right ones that have the right quality, that have the right network, that have the right reach. All those kind of things. I think that SEO for a company like yourself is probably a little more important than for most DMOs, and quality of content is definitely right up there.
Well, we met at TBEX in Toronto, you and I, and at TBEX in Toronto I did a speech that had about 200 bloggers in the room, And one of the things that I said to them was, if you really want to start a relationship with a brand or a DMO, why not pitch something that doesn't involve spend first? So pitch me something like, I don't know, top 5 ways to prepare yourself for an Arctic excursion. So something around, I don't know, clothing wear, or top 5 ways to get to Rovaniemi for cheap, where you don't actually have to experience the destination or get money input. And then, once you've done a few of those and you've proved your traffic and your commitment and your interest in the destination, then start pitching the can I get a free trip angle, because that does require investment. And I said this to all the 200 bloggers, and they all were like, oh yeah, I'll pitch all these, interesting angles. And after I did that speech, I got 0 emails. It went straight back to, can I get a free trip to blank? And I just think there needs to be more promotion of, let's not do the freebie trip yet, people. Let's start working on some different story ideas first.
Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, hello. I'm Nicolas from the Emilia-Romagna Tourist Board. So
I had a feeling you might comment.
I can say, first of all, I want to say that I really love your presentation because you touched some really important points. We have been working with bloggers since 2011, and tomorrow I will be on stage and show also the campaign about, blog will with the apartment and everything. But the thing is, I'm going to tell also the aspects that we found also negative while working with that. And I absolutely agree with you, because I think with social media we have to do some experiments, so to do experiments. And when we started in 2012, we did some experiments. And I also have many people that I have on the blacklist that I would never work again. And also, one of the most important points that you said is what to do with the content, and I will say it tomorrow as well, because what I see is that many tourist boards just do blog trips or whatever because it's fashion now, because the Minister of Tourism or the bosses like it, they like to see the impressions, the tweet reach and all that stuff. And I will talk also about tomorrow about, there are discussions about the ROI and all that stuff, but I'm not really into that. Also, if people think yes, because the bloggers I work with develop their own ROI stuff or whatever. But for me, and I think also for other tourist boards, it's not really that important, because that is what you have to show to your boss to say, this is what the campaign brought. But for me, the ROI is different stuff. I will show some examples tomorrow of really posts or tweets. I work with Dave and Deb as well, like you said, that really brought to me the people in the region, the companies we work with, saying, hey, after the blog post was being published, we got bookings. And so for me, that is also a real ROI, but also the different content that we got, we are using it to produce other stuff. We are switching with our websites to put also content generated by them, so that the tourist, it's not the usual institutional website. So I don't want to talk too much.
I don't want you to give away too much, because I didn't actually, I've known about your bloghouse for a long time, and so many of my contacts have been on your bloghouse trips. And I didn't want to bring it up because I think you and I both came at it from a testing and experimentation perspective 2 years ago, and now we're through that, and we know what the nightmares can be and what the positives can be. So I'm actually looking forward to your presentation a lot to see what your learnings were, because I think we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, that's true. And the thing is, Blogville is not Bloghouse. Bloghouse is the other thing. So no, it's okay. But I'm completely fine with that. I will just show how we came up to this idea and what were also the bad things, like you said. And I really love your points because they are really important, and I always tell it to bloggers as well, but as you said, not a lot of them here from that area. It comes in and it goes out.
Is that it?
That's it. Any last questions? One last question.
Well, that was refreshingly candid. But it echoes a lot of experience that we have had with Inspired by Iceland as well. But I wanted to point what we have been doing more lately in working with bloggers is reaching out to specific niche bloggers around special events. So around a music festival, we reach out to specific music bloggers and bring them over rather than focusing on travel blogs. And that we feel that has really worked for us.
I would definitely agree with that strategy, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, because you're targeting the blogs that consumers are actually reading around timely, newsworthy events that can get click-throughs. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely the right way to go.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this indeed very candid story.